Fight. Conquer. Survive. Die. Welcome to the arena. In today's briefing, I'm going to walk you through how to play Void Breakers. The win condition: kill your opponent's team of fighters or have the highest total hit points at the end of round 12. Setup: set 6 hex tiles down in a circle with 1 tile in the middle. Make sure 2 of those tiles are flipped to the side with a holding cell on them on opposite sides of the arena. These tiles are called starting zones. Both players will set down their team of fighters on their respective starting zone. They then set their arsenals on the right side of their starting zone outside of the arena. Both players will then set down their fighters' health cards near their starting zone with a marker placed at the highest health number. Any additional cards that are to a specific fighter go down next to that fighter's health card. This can include minions or other specificities. Place a d12 dice near the arena on 1. This will keep track of rounds. Starting the game. Both players roll a die. Whoever gets the highest number may choose to go first or second. Next, both players go through their arsenal and select any 6 cards to create their starting hand. Note that each fighter has 2 ability cards that are suggested to be in your starting hand. Their titles are marked with dashes. After each player has created their starting hand, they will then shuffle the remaining cards in their arsenal and place it face down. Now the first player can start their turn. Once they start their turn, it is now round 1 for both players. Add 1 to the current round number every time the first player starts their turn. It will be that round for both players during their turns. Taking turns. A player's turn proceeds in 4 phases. First, the alpha phase. The active player draws a card from their arsenal and adds it to their hand. Second, the ready phase. The active players, fighters, and minions gain their indicated actions. Some additional effects may trigger or conclude depending on what cards are in the arena. Third, the action phase. Each player can only play up to 3 cards per turn during the action phase. This is true for an opponent's action phase as well, because some cards can be played during an opponent's turn. These cards will have a banner on them which will read Outburst or Reaction. Cards from the arsenal have a time restriction number on them. This is their round number on the top left. It means that card cannot be played until it is the equivalent round or beyond. When a player plays a card, the effect concludes, and it's placed in a pile next to their arsenal called the Void. Some cards will have effects that keep them in the arena until a certain point in time or until they are destroyed. The active player can use actions, built-in abilities, or play cards from their hand in any combination and at any time during their action phase. Let's briefly go over actions. When a fighter or minion uses their move action, which is represented by white arrows, they move into an adjacent zone. When they use an attack action, represented by red blades, the fighter or minion targets an enemy in their zone and then deals damage equal to their current attack power. There is also the multi-action, which is represented by 1 red blade and 1 white arrow. This can be used to attack or move. And we have a ranged multi-action, represented by yellow rings and a red blade. This can be used to attack an enemy in their zone or in an adjacent zone. When a fighter or minion uses their action, it is gone until the active player's next ready phase. Fourth, the Omega phase. The active player chooses to move on to this phase when they are finished with their action phase. Some additional effects may trigger or conclude depending on what cards are in the arena. All of the active player's fighters and minions are cleansed of all debuffs, which are represented by these icons. Normally, cleansing only affects a single debuff, but the Omega phase cleanses all debuffs. Any unused actions on the active player's fighters or minions are removed. The game moves on to the next player's turn when the Omega phase is over. Make sure to capitalize on all the resources available to you during your turn, since you can use all 3 of your fighters and play up to 3 cards from your hand. You can really develop some interesting strategies and tactics. Some additional rules for gameplay to remember. Each zone has a capacity of 4 fighters, minions, or structures, so no more of these cards can be moved in or placed into that zone. There are ways to get into a full zone. If the card uses an effect with keywords such as leap, teleport, throw, etc., that card can enter a full zone. When fighters are killed, meaning their health reaches 0, their health card is flipped over to the dead side and placed over their respective fighter in the arena. They no longer take up capacity in their zone. If the fighter is revived, they come back to life in that zone. Also, anything attached to that fighter is voided when they die. This includes counters and equipment. While a player has a dead fighter card, they can cycle a card during their action phase. To do this, they void a card from their hand, then draw a card from their arsenal. The player can do this once per turn for each dead fighter they own. What is voiding? Voiding is what we call discarding in Void Breakers. It's our mechanic for removing a resource without using it for its intended purpose. Lastly, when a player runs out of cards in their arsenal, they don't automatically lose the game. Instead, all of their cards they have active in the arena void 10 health every time they are unable to draw a card. Now that you've been briefed on how to play Void Breakers, I want to see you jump into the action immediately. If you have any further questions, comment. If you want more players, share the video. And if you want further updates and news, subscribe. Stay safe out there. Crush your enemies. Into the void. Fight.